iPhone 16, the body of iPhone 14 and the soul of iPhone 16. But is it worth it? Apple just launched its cheapest iPhone, but it's not cheap anymore. Apple just did something they have never done before with a budget iPhone. In 2025, everyone wants a big bright display, high refresh rate, bunch of camera and crazy fast charging, all for under $500. And yes, it is possible, but there is always a catch. Apple, however, doesn't play that game, and iPhone 16e is a proof. At first glance, the iPhone 16e looks like a solid deal. Same size as the iPhone 16 Pro, has the A18 chip like the rest of the lineup. But look closer. One less GPU core on the A18 chip, no dynamic island, no MagSafe, a slightly downgraded camera system. That might not sound like a big deal, but in Apple worlds, a small difference change everything. So the big question is, the iPhone 16e a good deal, or are you better off spending a little extra for the iPhone 16, which fixes everything? And that's where things get interesting. For $100 more, the regular iPhone 16 gives you a better GPU, better display, more features like dynamic island, and overall a phone that doesn't feel like a compromise. So why would anyone buy 16e? That's where Apple plays it a smarter move. Apple is targeting a very specific buyer, people who don't need fancy camera button, dynamic island, the latest Bluetooth and blazing fast Wi-Fi 7 or wireless charger. And here is the twist, despite its budget level, the iPhone 16e faster in downloads than the regular iPhone 16 in some scenario thanks to its C1 chip. This is for those who just want an iPhone that works without breaking the bank, and honestly, nothing is bad about this phone. It's a purpose-built device. If you're buying for your parents, someone switching from really old phone, or you just want a phone that will last for years without worrying about reliability, this is a solid option. But here is the real issue. The iPhone 16e is not really cheap. The E in the iPhone 16e stands for economy, but right now it might as well stand for the expensive. For the first time in a budget iPhone, you get 48 megapixel fusion camera, finally better photos, action button from the pros, Apple Intelligent AI feature, USB-C, yes, finally, Face ID and 6.1-inch XDR display with 1200 nits peak brightness, 25-watt charging, not great but not bad, A18 chip with one less GPU. That missing GPU core actually might be a good thing, potentially saving battery life and helping with thermal management. More RAM than expected, probably to handle Apple Intelligent. Sound promising, right? But don't be fooled. Apple always finds ways to push you up the ladders. The iPhone 16e does not have the same camera system as the iPhone 16. The iPhone 16e has a lens shift stabilization, while the 16 gets sensor shift, a small but noticeable difference. Autofocus isn't quite as sharp. Fear AI-driven camera enhancement, not because of cost cutting, but because Apple wants you to want iPhone 16. And if you're considering the higher storage models, just don't. At that price, you're better off getting the iPhone 16. For years, Apple has followed the parts bin strategy, taking older parts and reusing them to keep costs low. The iPhone 16e continues this tradition, but there is one reason why it's still more expensive than expected. This is Apple's first in-house modem, which promises better connectivity and efficiency, but also pushes up the price. Apple is always thinking about longevity, 7 years of software update, but there is the catch. Every update comes at a cost. Over time, efficiency decreases, performance take a hit, and once smooth experience start to slow down. In Android world, this is possible, but you'll usually have to pay flagship prices for it. So the final verdict is, the iPhone 16e worth it? Yes, if you want an affordable entry into Apple ecosystem, don't need extra feature like dynamic island or MagSafe, just want a reliable iPhone for years to come. And no, if you want the best camera experience Apple offer, need brighter display and faster wireless charging, work outside often and need a sun-readable screen. If you are upgrading from an older iPhone, the iPhone 16e is a solid choice. New design, A18 chip and Apple Intelligent. But at this price, Apple want you to think twice before skipping the iPhone 16. So at the end of the day, the iPhone 16 isn't a bad phone, it just stuck in an awkward place. It's not cheap enough to be a true budget iPhone and it's not feature packed enough to be compete with the iPhone 16. If you are buying for a family member or upgrading from an older iPhone or want a long-lasting device, then the 16e makes sense. But if you want the full iPhone experience, then spending a little extra on the iPhone 16 is the smarter move. Let me know what you think. Is the iPhone 16 worth it, or is Apple just testing how much we are willing to pay? And drop your thoughts in the comment, and if you find this video helpful, then hit the subscribe and like button for more deep dive into tech. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.